Good morning and welcome to Animal Talk Thursday. I shouldn't say good morning because we record this too, and I know there are people that watch from all over the world, so it may not be morning where you're watching from. I'm Dawn Heyman, co-founder of Spring Farm Cares and professional animal communicator. And today we have Gracie, who is trying to say something, so she's interrupting the process. Today we're going to do a tour of our small animal facility. And we're going to already have an interruption, so we'll step aside as we have some visitors coming in. But we're going to talk about our small animal facility today. And we already did a tour of the barn a few weeks ago, I guess. So although we've done some live shots from in the hall here, I'm going to have Becca pan around so that you can see our main hall, what we call the main hall of the small animal facility. And this is also our meeting place, and visitors come in here. All the animal rooms are off to the sides from this main area. And this room, the reason why we have such a huge ceiling and everything, this building was the building that we started to build in 1993-94, right after our fire. So it was actually more 94-95. And the barn that burned that we had that housed our small animal facility and our living quarters and our offices and everything was a huge barn with a huge haymow. And we wanted to do something to kind of recreate that feeling, because we had our meeting room up in the upper floor of that barn where there were these huge, ceilings. So this building is actually a pole barn with 2 lean-tos on it. People don't realize that when they come in, but that's what this is. It's a big pole barn. So when we were building the building in 1994, we had the shell of the hall completed. The walls were up. Everything is wood, as you might be able to see from the video. I don't know how much you can see, but the whole feeling of the building is really special in here. But we didn't have the ceiling finished at that point. We were just getting plywood up, and actually Bonnie and I were doing a starry sky. It was supposed to be, the ceiling was supposed to be a starry sky, and we just had the plywood and we were painting it like a dark blue with stars on it. And that's what the ceiling was going to look like a nighttime sky. However, we had a visitor come in, and this person was the president of an opera society and was a chief opera singer from New York City. Actually, he had a lot of opera experience in performing. He was very much a professional, and he came in here and he said, wow, the acoustics in here are incredibly special. And he launched into an operatic performance right in front of us, and he was like, you actually have an opera house here. So we were like, oh, well, we were just getting ready to put the plywood up, and he was like, no, you can't mess with it. All that was up there at that time was insulation. So anyway, that was the birth of why we have a stage here and why you're seeing a grand piano up there on that stage. This started a whole series here. Bonnie ended up going to New York City to talk to people that had theaters and everything there about what we needed to do with the ceiling. So it's actually a fabric ceiling, and because the fabric keeps the acoustics the way they are. So it truly is a very special building. We didn't intend for that to happen, but it was just one of those things. So we've hosted several performances here. Bonnie also has a history of directing and acting, and quite a career of directing and acting, and being in Hollywood and doing a bunch of TV and all sorts of things. And she started doing performances here with local actors, and we started doing live theater here as a way of fundraising for Spring Farm. We had dinner theaters here. It lasted for several years. Unfortunately, it did not prove to be functional for us. We were losing money on the performances rather than making money, and we could no longer continue to do that. So part of the stage still remains. We have a concert grand piano, which was mostly donated to us, which is an amazing thing in and of itself. Very famous people have played that piano. At the time we got it, there were only 2 in this county, but Roberta Flack played it, and Ray Charles, and there's been a whole list of people that performed on that piano. So it's pretty cool. But that's still sitting here at this point. We're no longer doing any performances like that, but at open houses and stuff, we'll do some musical performances. We'll have some groups come in, and again, they usually rave about the acoustics. So that's what it is. But anyway, that's the main part of the hall and the history behind that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Shall we take a walk around?
Let's take a walk. And we have some visitors actually here already. We've made all of these rooms wheelchair accessible as well, so that people can come in and spend time with the cats, which they absolutely love. And we have a lot of visitors that come and do that throughout the week. So this is all of our animal rooms. None of our animals live in cages, so they're here with us for life. And we try to do a lot of enrichment things in the rooms. So as you'll see through the windows, and we'll go in a room. We're actually going to go in a room. But as you will see, there are a lot of cat trees, and we have places for them to climb up, and so that they have things to do all of the time. They also have doors that go out onto enclosed porches, and they can go through cat doors to see out to their porches. So these are all of our newly renovated rooms. Just in the last year, we have renovated these rooms. We have special flooring that's down for them, and it happens to be this nice green, this bright green. Which keeps their spirits up, and especially in the winter, it's nice to have that. So yeah, lots to do. We have lots of cat trees. People donate cat trees, and we very, very much appreciate that. Sometimes you'll see a pen set up in a room, and that's when we have somebody that's either on special medication, or we have to separate somebody for eating. Like in this case, in this room where Rebecca's showing you, then the pen is open during the day for the cats to come out. And they can go in and out. But we try to provide lots of entertainment for them. All right, let's go down this hall. This hall has more cat rooms. Everything is cat rooms. So they have three smaller. This used to be, we call this affectionately the dog hall, because this is where our dogs used to live back when we had dogs here. And each one of these would have been a dog room, but instead now they're cat rooms. And again, porches. They have cat doors out to porches that they can go out.
Can we show them the catios, actually? Because it's a cool view to see all of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think you guys would like to see this. Hello, Lorinda.
She answered you. She said hello.
Hi. These are cool because you can see all the way down to all the catios.
Yeah. And they have, like now, the windows are open. We have screens on them, obviously. But the windows are open so that they can get fresh air and listen to the birds, and they have a lot to look at here usually.
Watch the donkeys out here.
Yep, they can watch the donkeys grazing, and they do lawnmowers and tractors going by, which entertains them to no end. But we're a functioning farm, so there's a lot going on outside of the building for sure. Mm-hmm. And again, more cat trees and things for them to do.
Hello.
We have in this building about 130 cats live here in this building, and we're the rooms are being cleaned. As you can see, they can make quite a mess. All right, we're going to go out the back door. We're going to show you a unique view of a behind-the-scenes look. This building behind the main hall, and you might want to show the porches on the outside too, what the building actually looks like on the outside. This building here, which we call the Annex, was originally built because we have solar panels here, and we have several solar arrays. I think we showed them on one video that we did up the hill. You can't see them from the road or from where we're standing, but the power all comes down. We needed to have a control room that was set up with all the inverters that convert the solar energy and feed into the grid. So that all happens in this building, and we're not going to go into that room. There's a lot of electronic equipment. We're not going to go in there. But what else is in this building is our main supplies, and it's like the heart of what happens here and what it takes to run an animal sanctuary with 130 cats. So you need to come in and see this. So this is like the behind-the-scenes look where it all gets done. And this building also houses our commercial washer and dryer, which is always running. And all of our supplies get kept here. So all of our food supplies, the special diets, we have a section of cleaning supplies, and lots of, we use the boxes, by the way. The reason why you see piles of boxes, we use those for enrichment for the cats. People make little cat shelters out of them and stuff. We put them in the rooms so the cats can play in them. And the rest of it is all bedding and litter and all the things that we have that to keep those rooms going the way they are. So the washer and dryer are always running. There's always piles of laundry ready to be done, and it's a big part of the day here. So that in and of itself is like a huge part of what happens behind the scenes. So this is the annex. So we're going to go back in now through the other side, which is what we call the bunny hall, because we have the bunny room and the bunny and bird room here. Of course, everything has names in here. Want to go in the bird room?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I know this is probably hard on a live video.
No,
this
okay.
This is our bird room. Where the heck are the birds?
There's one.
Oh, usually they're all together. Oh, there they are up there. The birds get to fly around all day in this room, and at night they do go into their cages for sleeping, but otherwise they stay out and they fly around. Right now they're quiet. Usually they're zipping around in here and singing. They're usually always singing. That's why I thought, where are the birds? We couldn't really see them.
There we go.
There we are.
Do you ever worry about them flying out when you open the door?
One time they did. One time one did. One of that green one over there that just flew. He's very precocious, and he can be a problem. When we were doing renovations and we had to get him in their cages to move them, he managed to get out of the cage. When we had proudly gotten them all locked in, and he found one door that hadn't been twist tied shut, and he lifted the door up and got out. And so yes, we had to catch him.
How did you catch him?
We had a net, actually.
Oh.
The other time he got out was just recent. He got out on one of the staff, and he ended up flying on top of the door. And when they didn't see him, and when they opened the door to go out, he flew out into the hall. But luckily, he landed on the top of the screen door, and they called for help, and a bunch of us came, and we were like, okay. He was confined to the hallway because we got to close the other door, and so we just stood there long enough with the door open, and he flew back in to be with his buddies. So we didn't have to net him at that point. But yeah, he can be troubling. He can be troublesome, that little guy.
Funny. And we have some of our little bunnies in here. Hi, buddy. How you doing?
Yeah, and the bunnies all get out of their cages a lot. There's a romp area out in the big hall too, so they're not all in here. So that we can get them out of cages. So that's a big part of what we do with them. All right. This is the next inner hub. A lot of the employees call this the kitchen, but we actually have a kitchen. So this is what we call the supply room. You can see why they call it the kitchen. This is where the food is prepared for the cats. So we have shelving. Again, this was all for the renovations. This was all added in here so that it's easier for the staff. And we do have a cat room in the back of this room. But in here is where all of the canned food is prepared. You can see the feed board. Show a picture of the feed board because it's really involved what has to happen.
Very complex.
Yeah, it's very complex. And some of them get supplements added to their food. Medications are done we have a designated med person that takes care of the medications each day. And that's all that person does predominantly is medications and everything. But otherwise, the staff can add things like Cosequin and some other supplements they can add into there. But this is where this all happens, and dishes are washed, and it's a kitchen. All right, now we're gonna find Chi-Chi running around out here. You met Chi-Chi in the last
Chi-Chi.
one.
How are you doing? Hi, how are you? Chi-Chi.
All right, so now you want to go in this room?
Yeah,
we're gonna go in the bunk room. This is called the bunk room because 25 years ago it actually was a bunk room, and people actually, when they came and stayed at the farm, could camp here and use we had futons in here where people could sleep in here. So they did bunk here, like for my workshops and stuff. We had to stop doing that because we got too many employees, it grew and it just wasn't conducive to people being able to stay here at the farm. So we're not able to house people here at the farm anymore. It's just too much for us to handle. But this room, it was part of our newly renovated things here, where we added these cat ramps and bridges and things because the cats love to climb and go up on these beams that held the lights. And they went up there anyway. So instead, we started making it a dedicated cat area so that it's easily cleanable. And so we have all sorts of interesting shelving for them to climb on and for them to go up. And they do use that. I haven't seen them too much it's funny. Before, they would scramble up there all the time when it was like the forbidden area. Now that we made it for them, they're like, whatever. Yeah. They hardly ever go up there.
It's not as enticing.
Yeah. It was better when it was an area where they shouldn't go.
That's how it goes.
Yeah.
And then they also have a little catio.
Yes.
Out here too.
They do. They have a door in the wall that goes out to this little catio. Because this room does not have a designated porch. So we tried to make an area where they can go outside and get some attention. And I see we have a screen coming down.
Oh yeah. What did the cats think of the renovations when they were happening?
When they were happening, they didn't know what was going on at first. When we moved them in the big hall that we just came from, we had temporary housing set up in there. It was like it was custom made, giant kennel that actually was 4 quadrants, and it housed 4 rooms of cats. So as they did the first 4 rooms, we moved the cats out into these quadrants, and they would watch at first. They were at first freaked out, but that didn't last for long because they got there in the hall, and suddenly they were like prime center for visitors coming in, and then they were like, oh, this is kind of cool, and they really got into it. And it was good because the first phase was supposed to be about 1 month, and it went, I think, 2 months or over 2 months. Yeah, it was over 2 months. So that first group of 4 were in those temporary houses for a long time, and which was fine. It was outfitted. They were comfortable. They liked it. So then, but they would watch every day as their rooms were being destroyed and taken down and then built back up. I would watch them. They'd sometimes sit all in a row and they'd be watching the carpenters do something. And after they took the flooring out and everything, and we redid the floor joists, so it was down to the ground. I mean, it was totally stripped. Those rooms were totally stripped and started all over again. And the cats one day, they were all looking, and one of them looked up at me and said, oh, now I see why we had to come out here. And I was like, yeah, that's why. But don't worry, they're going to put it back. And then when they went into the new rooms, they were almost more freaked out at first until some of their, because we had to move the cats, then move the furniture back in because they were using the furniture in the temporary room. So it was kind of you had to do this. We moved some of the furniture, then all of the cats, then the rest of the furniture. But once we got everything in and it was back to where things normally were, they loved it. I mean, they were all about it. And when they ran out into their porches for the first time, it was really great because these porches were all finished. They had plywood out there before. Now they had real floors, and they loved it. So
it's so beautiful in here. I'm sorry, I just need to show. What are you doing? That's an interesting way to drink water.
And he likes to drink water this way.
That's okay. Yeah, that's okay. It's interesting. I like it.
Drinking.
It's amazing the amount of thought that goes into these rooms, especially considering that these cats live here for their whole life.
Yes. It's very important because they're not just here for a short period of time. So we're their home, we're their family, and they need to be in a space that they're comfortable in, but also that they can have fun in. Enrichment is really important. This cat here just said, aren't you going to film me?
Oh, hi.
She said, look, I'm really cute.
You are so cute. Now I forget her name.
Yeah, I'm not good with, I confess, I don't know all the cats' names. So some of them I do know. This one's going to go out. It's Cat Door.
Oh, yes. So cute. This is Sebastian, who is thinking about jumping on
Yes,
my shoulders.
Sebastian will do that for sure.
Yeah.
He's one I do know.
I know this is Rudy, right?
Yep.
with his little missing ear.
Yeah.
They're so cute.
Yeah.
Cute.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just be careful. No shoulder jumping right now.
It's hard when you have a t-shirt on
Yes.
with the nails.
The nails.
A sweatshirt, it's not so bad.
And then we have Liberty up there snoozing.
Oh, she's so pretty. Hi. Hello. How are you? Yeah, this is a really fun room. And if you're local, in case you didn't know, this is open to visitors.
Yes. We love to have visitors. The cats love to have visitors. Sebastian wants to have a shoulder to jump on. Right? Don't look at me.
He's thinking about it.
I know he is. And he will jump to your shoulders from the floor. I mean, he's not shy about doing it.
He did it when I was sweeping
Did he?
earlier.
Yes. So it's, yeah. We would love to have visitors come, and you can come. We have a program also for children to come read to the cats. It's called Perfect Readers. It is PURR, Perfect Readers. And the cats love it. It's great for the kids. Kids can read out loud to cats, and they're not as intimidated as if they're reading for an adult or, teacher or whatever. And it really improves their reading skills a lot. And the cats love it. So, yeah.
Yeah, so come visit us.
Visit.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Dawn. This was amazing.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right, and we hope you come visit us. Have a good day, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.